This is TomoNews for Monday, February 6th. Man gets 140-pound tumor removed. Meet Mississippi dude Roger Logan. He's a fan of the Miami Hurricanes college football team and used to run an antique store as well as manage his family farm. We say used to because over the past several years, a massive benign tumor developed on his lower belly. It's freaking huge! That tumor started out as an ingrown hair over a decade ago, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew. According to reports, the thing weighed more than 140 pounds. FYI, that's more than 1.5 Miley Cyruses. Last week, Logan traveled to Bakersfield Hospital in California for an operation to get it removed. There, surgeons managed to cut the damn thing off. But wait, are there photos, you ask? Of course there's photos. And yeah, we're sorry if you were eating. Following the op, Logan was reportedly in a cheery mood, and before the big guy heads home, he says he's gonna grab a Bakersfield taco. Good for you, man. Good for you. What to do if a dog attacks? A 2-year-old girl was recently hospitalized for severe facial injuries after she was attacked by a pit bull-type dog in Scotland. We hope you never have to deal with this sort of situation, but in case you do, we've produced this animation based on an article in GQ. If a dog shows signs of aggression, don't look it in the eye. The dog will take this as a challenge. Never smile. The dog could interpret this as you baring your teeth. Instead, slowly back away and out of the dog's field of view. Don't run away, as this triggers the dog's chase instinct. If several dogs are attacking you, try to get somewhere high, because dogs can't climb. Or raise your hands above your head and roar loudly to scare them away. Use things like sticks or a backpack to keep the dog from getting close enough to bite. But if you do start getting bitten, focus on protecting your neck, face, chest, and groin area. If you can, wrap your forearm with clothing to get the dog to chew on that. Other tricks include falling on the dog with your weight and striking it at the base of its skull. If you must attack the dog with a knife, try to stab it under its front leg or just above its shoulder. You can also try covering the dog's head with a coat, which often subdues it. Or lift the dog's hind legs up in the air, which limits its ability to maneuver. If you have been bitten, don't forget to get yourself checked out at the hospital.
Teen girl dies after being thrown from theme park ride. A 14-year-old girl in Chongqing, China has died after an amusement park ride suddenly spun out of control. This short clip captures the horrific accident at Zhohua Park on February 3rd. The cause of exactly what went wrong has yet to be determined, but as it appears on video, multiple passengers were strapped in by safety harnesses. There may have been a malfunction with the girl's harness, or maybe it wasn't locked in properly, because somehow it came loose and left her hanging on for dear life. As the ride swung, she somehow managed to cling to the ride for at least 2 full rotations. In the end though, the force of the ride was too much for her, and she slipped off, flying straight into a metal fence before collapsing to the ground. Attempts to resuscitate her were unsuccessful, and the girl was pronounced dead at the hospital. An investigation into the tragic incident is currently underway.
Woman gets life-changing treatment to be able to walk again.
5 gallons.
Roseanne Smith from Plano, Texas was 18 when her foot and ankle began to swell. She turned to doctors, but they'd never seen anything like it and were just as baffled as she was. The swelling worsened, progressing to her right leg and knee. But it wasn't until 1987, 6 years after the swelling began, that she was finally diagnosed. Smith had lymphedema, an incurable condition where lymphatic fluid builds up in the arms, face, legs, or hands. She resorted to hiding her oversized limb with loose pants and long dresses, but the leg, now the size of an elephant's, made it difficult to walk. Smith's ray of hope came when she discovered a doctor in South Korea who specialized in stem cell work. In April 2016, she finally sought treatment. 17 liters of fluid was drained from her leg, and stem cells injected to restart her lymphatic system. The size of her leg has already been reduced by half, and the 54-year-old beautician claims she can now walk comfortably for the first time in 20 years.
You know, so I joined a Facebook group called Lymphedema Lifeline Foundation. And I met Cindy Lechtenhahn. She runs the group, and she does the manual lymph drainage and all the complete decongestive therapy that's, she told me about Dr. Shim in Korea, and that she thought he was working with stem cells. And so, well, I just friended him right away and started talking to him. And he knew more about the lymphatic system and stem cells than any doctor I've ever known. Well, let's see, on GoFundMe, I was able to raise about $4,000. And then my brother happens to be the drummer for a country band called Lone Star. And my brother came up with the idea to put on a concert for me to raise money so that I could go to Korea. And that happened. They did it. This was the before picture, and this was 2 weeks after the procedure. You can see the liposuction scars there, and then that's 4 weeks after. It's kind of gradually going down. No, some people do have pain, but I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I only have it in one limb, because there's people much worse off than me, like babies being born with it in both legs. That's just breaks my heart.
Here are more stories on strange ailments. Woman's rare condition leaves her covered in thousands of tumors. At age 5, Libby Huffer was diagnosed with a neurological disorder that affects 1 in 2,500 people. The condition is genetic and causes the growth of benign tumors or fibromas anywhere where nerves are present. Tumors can grow both internally and externally and cause a lot of pain and itching. Huffer's skin began to develop small bumps during her teenage years and worsened in 1993 when hormones from her pregnancy caused them to multiply. Now, at age 44, the Fort Wayne, Indiana native has over 6,000 fibromas covering her entire body. The condition led to her being bullied and socially isolated as a child and discriminated against as an adult. Sadly, there is no cure for her condition. Huffer's best option is electrodesiccation surgery, which removes the tumors from beneath the nerve. She set up a GoFundMe page to help pay for the operation, as well as to raise awareness for her condition.
Started to change when the tumors started to develop, such as personal self-esteem. I became more depressed because I was the only bumpy person in the entire school in high school.
Here's one of these. I hope you can take the time to read it and show it to your kids. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I just really want people to know what it is. I'm tired of getting stared at, and I feel like a circus freak or like a monster sometimes. In school growing up, kids would call me either leopard. I've been called lizard or lizard breath. I've been called a toad. And all of these things are really hurtful. There's nothing that I can do. It was a genetic inheritance. And the scary part is my future is unforeseen. The older I get, the more I'm getting of these. So I will be entirely covered eventually. And that scares me. I don't look forward to growing old. I don't want to be old, 89 years old, because I'm afraid of what I would, look like. Created my GoFundMe page to try to raise money for the electrodesiccation surgery, because unfortunately the insurance that I have doesn't cover out-of-network procedures. There's a procedure called electrodesiccation, and it's a surgical laser procedure that can go down beneath the nerve where the tumors are rooted from. The way I have them cut off now is they just go in and take out the fatty tissue and pull me back together. But this procedure is done with laser. Like I said, it goes beneath the nerve, so it totally pulls the entire tumor out, thus causing it not to come back. Still today, nobody knows what it is. That's why I'm trying to really make a difference in showing the world how many people have neurofibromatosis. So I'm getting more and more every day.
Beating the odds. An Indian man has been hailed a medical miracle after surviving well beyond the timeline once set for him. The 18-year-old was born with his heart outside his rib cage. This is a rare condition called pentology of Cantrell. The condition affects fetal development and leads to the bizarre congenital defect. Doctors predicted his early death at birth, but the brave man continues to beat the odds by surviving. He even pushes the envelope by living and working on his father's farm, refusing to let his condition hold him back. Still, the man is careful about protecting his chest area, as falling or hitting the unprotected heart could lead to instant death. One day he hopes to get an operation to correct his anomaly and let him lead a normal, happy life. World's heaviest child diets to save his life. A boy in West Java, Indonesia had to go on an emergency diet after his parents feared his morbid obesity may be threatening his life. Arya Permana is only a decade old, but already weighs an eye-popping 192 kilos. The boy's mom claims he was born normal and only recently began rapidly gaining weight. He's grown so large that he's had to wear a sarong, since no clothes fit him. He was forced to leave school after his extreme weight made it difficult to walk and move around. As a result, the 10-year-old spends most days lying around watching TV or playing on the phone. Permana is perpetually hungry and eats 5 large meals a day. Despite this, doctors haven't been able to find anything wrong with him, even declaring the big boy healthy. His parents aren't convinced though, and put him on a strict brown rice diet to get him back to a decent size, and hopefully away from the jaws of death.
Sekarang ya makan nasi,
makan ringan gitu.
makan mie, cemilan, suka.
Terus bisa berjalan duduk dengan benar apa gimana?
Jalan bisa tapi nggak jauh. Suka sesak napasnya. Cuman duduk tiduran di sini.
Masalah yang dihadapi saat membesarkan Arya selama sampai sekarang itu dari pertama.
Yang membesarkan Arya.
Terus mulai ada perubahan ini, apa kesulitannya?
Ya sulit, dia susah jalan, ke sekolah susah, nggak bisa jalan, katanya sesak napas.
Arya sehari makan berapa hari?
3.
Kalau sebelum-sebelumnya?
Woman's hand grows to the size of a football. A housewife in Bangladesh is afflicted with a rare deformity. Her right hand, once normal-sized, has swelled to gigantic proportions. The 36-year-old appears to be suffering from a rare medical condition. Trouble is, doctors have no clue what it is. Her fingers have grown abnormally large and lost their shape. Blisters have also formed on her deformed hand, and while itchy, they're at least not painful. Doctors have referred her to plastic surgeons in the capital, but she unfortunately cannot afford treatment. To compensate for her deformity, the woman has mastered doing most things with just one hand. Still, she hopes some good Samaritan will help pay for her treatment one day so she can live a normal life.
ওরা হয়তো চাই কিন্তু দূরে ছাড়ানোর সামর্থ্য এরকম নাই দেখে কোনো কিছুই হয়নি কিন্তু যন্ত্রণা পাইতেছে আমি চিনতে পারবো না নিবে ডাক্তার দেখাচ্ছিলাম তারা স্বাস্থ্যকেন্দ্র যা এক্সরা ছিল এক্সরার পর তারা বড় ডাক্তার টাকা প্লাস্টার সার্জারির কাছে তার কাছে বের করছিল তারপরে গেলাম না কোনো কিছুই হবে
The boy with the melting face. Bhupender Singh is a spirited, fun-loving teen, like most kids his age. But unlike most 16-year-olds, he suffers from a condition that makes his face look like it's melting. Singh has neurofibromatosis and was born with a tumor on his right eyelid. As he grew, so did the tumor. By age 9, his face had drooped so much he had to undergo emergency surgery. He's had 2 more surgeries since, but his face remains engulfed by the tumor. With his sagging nose, half lip, missing eye and ear, Singh is afraid of being branded a freak and rarely leaves the safety of his village. He may not be able to see, eat, or speak properly, but the teen is determined to make something of himself. Despite the odds stacked against him, Singh has dreams of someday becoming a chef, whether he is cured or not.
कहीं इसको नौकरी मिल जाए तो अच्छी बात है इसकी लाल बन जाएगा हम तो अनपढ़ बंदे हैं हम तो कुछ कर नहीं सकते
लूंगा खिचड़ी खानी नमक कम रहा है बिल्कुल
Bangladesh's real-life Benjamin Button. A mother in Magura, Bangladesh, has given birth to a curious-looking baby. With his wrinkled skin, hollow eyes, and a shrunken body, the boy appears more like an old man than a newborn. Doctors believe he suffers from a rare genetic condition called progeria, which affects 1 in 8 million people. Those with progeria age 8 times faster than others. Average life expectancy is 13 years, since the chances of having a heart attack or stroke at an early age is increased. Despite the strange appearance brought about by his condition, the baby's parents were overjoyed at the new addition to their family and are hoping the boy grows up healthy.
একটা বাইতে নেকড়া দাও তো ঘুরাই দেন এবার মুখটা ঘুরাই দেন
Baby born with no nose. Tessa Evans from Ireland was just like any other smiley, happy kid, except for one tiny thing. The 2-year-old was a rare child, one of only 47 others who have been recorded as being born with a missing nose. The toddler has complete congenital arrhythmia, a condition so rare it affects 1 in 100 million. The girl's nose didn't develop in the womb, and while she has no sinuses and no sense of smell, she can still cough, sneeze, or catch a cold. Despite all this, Evans is your typical adorable tot, who is especially fond of dancing. In June 2015, she underwent an operation to get a 3D printed nose mold fitted under her skin. It's the first of many surgeries in the coming years, as doctors must ensure the nose grows at the same rate as the rest of her face. The final prosthetic implant will be fitted when Evans hits her teens, and the nose will be completed with nostrils and shading drawn on by a tattoo artist. Indonesian werewolf boy revered as Hindu god. An Indonesian teen covered head to toe in thick black hair is getting attention from both ends of the spectrum, from those who revere him to those who ridicule him. The 13-year-old has a genetic condition called hypertrichosis, more popularly known as werewolf syndrome. The extreme hair growth caused by the condition has made the boy look like Hanuman, the Hindu monkey god. Villagers from other locales would reportedly flock to his house just to get a look at him. He doesn't mind the attention despite being a devout Muslim. School, though, is a different matter. The boy is bullied by peers and often called names because of his appearance. Doctors have suggested getting laser treatment, which is expensive. But even if the family could afford the procedure, the teen prefers not to change his appearance, accepting it instead as a blessing from God. Baby with severely swollen head fights for survival. A poor baby from a remote village in western India is struggling to live after a rare condition has left her head 3 times its normal size. Though born healthy, the 14-month-old's head begins swelling after just 2 months. The girl is battling a severe form of hydrocephalus, which causes fluid to accumulate inside the skull. In this case, the baby's skull is so filled with fluid, it now measures 23 inches in diameter. Her head is also so heavy the girl is unable to even crawl and has remained in bed for months. Surgery is the best way to deal with hydrocephalus, but the girl's parents don't earn very much and cannot afford the pricey operation. Left with no other choice, the helpless family left their daughter's fate up to the heavens. Fortunately, someone up there was listening. A GoFundMe page set up for the poor girl has amassed over £17,000, enough to pay for her life-saving surgery.
अब तो ले जाने परिस्थिति नहीं आना एना डॉक्टर ऑपरेशन वगैरह कोई इलाज नहीं आना तो आ डॉक्टर अति बनी सके नहीं ना पाए मोटा दवाखाना बताओ मोटा दवाखाना में जा सके मैं परिस्थिति नहीं जा अहमदाबाद तो सिविल मत ले जाता ये लोग को ना पाए तो नहीं था डॉक्टर तो के बेअवस्था है वैसे
भूख नहीं लाजी गाड़ी ने भूख नहीं लाजी हमरा पीड़ा इतले
Woman sneaks up on Korean grandma and shoves her to the ground. Police believe the woman in this video clip was either heavily intoxicated or off her meds, because how else do you explain striking an 83-year-old Korean grandmother in Los Angeles? On February 1st at around 2:40 p.m., the elderly woman was seen going for a stroll on her own in Koreatown. For reasons unknown, 27-year-old Alexis Duvall suddenly came running up behind her. Duvall went right at the Korean grandma, pushing her in the back and sending her face first into the concrete. The grandma laying motionless on the ground, Duvall tried to escape. Luckily, a good Samaritan followed her and caught her on camera. Police were able to catch up to her soon after and arrest her. She originally gave them a fake name, but a fingerprint scan revealed her true identity. A witness uploaded her account of the attack on Facebook, claiming the woman screamed "White Power" as she ran off. Yet, no other witnesses in the area claim to have heard this. Aside from a 1-inch gash on her forehead, the grandma is reported to be okay.
This is why you should always clean your room. This is 18-year-old Julia Picard. This is her injured foot. And this is her messy room. Julia was down for some Netflix last Tuesday inside her seriously messy bedroom at her home in Papillion, Nebraska. She had to get up to get some popcorn, and when she did, she stepped on the charger. According to the Omaha World Herald, the high school student then took these photos of her foot and her room. Next, her mom, Mary, was on hand to pull the charger out. Picard was treated with a tetanus shot and is on antibiotics following the injury. The tweet with the photos reads, "When your room is this messy, you have to accept the consequences of not being able to see where you step." So clean your room, kids. Clean your room. Everyone's worst nightmare. A woman in India got the shock of her life after discovering that the crawling sensation up her nose was in fact an actual creepy crawler. The 42-year-old domestic worker woke up to an itchy, tingling feeling in her nasal cavity that soon turned painful. Doctors suspected a nasal growth before deducing it was a foreign body moving around. To everyone's horror, the intruder turned out to be a fully grown live cockroach. The vile insect had crawled up the woman's nose while she was sleeping and lodged itself right between her eyes. It took nearly 45 minutes and a combination of methods before the live roach was finally pulled out of the woman's nose. Had it stayed in, doctors believe it would have died and given the unfortunate patient an infection. Ew. Guess we're all sleeping like this tonight. Aww. A woman who lost a limb in the Boston Marathon bombing has found her happy ending, and it's with the man who saved her that tragic April day. After Roseanne Smith's leg was destroyed in the second explosion, a firefighter came to her aid as she lay bleeding on the street. He visited her at the hospital where she was recovering from an amputated leg, but love was the last thing on her mind. Her mother, though, saw a son-in-law in the handsome firefighter. And because mom knows best, the survivor struck up a friendship with her hero that soon turned romantic. In December 2016, firefighter Mike proposed in Nantucket using a special engraved tag on their dog to pop the question. The two are set to tie the knot in a small ceremony in October or November. Got sanitizer? New Yorkers may be notorious for giving zero f***, but some things just can't be ignored, and hateful graffiti is one of them. On Saturday night, a group of commuters boarding a Manhattan 1 train were shocked to discover swastikas and anti-Semitic messages black markered all over the car. After a moment of stunned silence, one guy piped up to suggest hand sanitizer, prompting everyone to pull out Purell and tissues. Within minutes, the entire car had been scrubbed clean, and the passengers were back to happily minding their own business. Take that, Nazi scum! Moral of the story, don't mess with New Yorkers. They're tenacious and always have sanitizer. Rikers inmates slash guy with shivs and then fire them up their butts. Rikers Island, New York City. To quote Obi-Wan, "You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious." Indeed, Master Jedi. Because according to the New York Daily News, inmates there were recently filmed attacking murder suspect Ernest Jones with scalpels. And then ramming the blades right up their glutei maximi post-haste. Jones was cut in the face and back. The dudes that attacked him were ID'd as Blood Gang members Michael Walcott and Ramsey Faisal. Both attackers will most likely face charges for the January 18th attack. Word is the scalpels were stolen by Faisal himself when he worked at a hospital. He had women smuggle them into Rikers. Apparently, scalpels are an inmate's weapon of choice, as they can be topped with a pen cap and stashed up their poop holes. We don't know how painful that is, and we seriously advise you not to try it at home. Rikers officials told the Daily News things like this could be detected if they could use body scanners, but state law prevents them from doing so.
Middle school teacher fired for working in porn 16 years ago. A sixth-grade teacher at an all-girls school in Dallas lost her job after word got out that she used to work as a porn actress 16 years ago. 38-year-old Risa Woodward taught science at the Young Women's STEAM Academy at Balch Springs Middle School. That is, until she was placed on administrative leave in November. Woodward said she did not want to be in porn. She claims she was manipulated into the business by an older man she was living with. Woodward went by the stage name Robin Foster. As Foster, she appeared in 16 videos published from 2001 to 2004. A compilation of her work was released in 2013. Woodward managed to get out and finish school to become a teacher, but her X-rated past caught up with her last year when she reported a drunk driver. Someone who reportedly had a problem with Woodward's attitude toward the police then outed her on social media. Woodward is a well-known member of the Libertarian Party of Texas. Reports say her whistleblower is also a member of the party. The Dallas School District has looked into the case and cleared Woodward of any policy violation. Woodward said she fessed up to Dallas school officials about the man's post, eventually confirming that it was true. But she added that she stopped doing porn in 2001 and that the tipster was merely retaliating against her. However, the issue then went public and the process of terminating her job was initiated. Woodward has filed an appeal with the Texas Education Agency. A spokeswoman told the Dallas Morning News they had not assigned a hearing because it was filed incorrectly.
You can carry the selfie drone in your purse. A UK company has launched a selfie drone called the Air Selfie, which is so small it can fit inside a smartphone case. The Air Selfie is stored inside an integrated cover that also fits inside a smartphone. The drone is controlled by an app and can fly up to 20 meters high. Autonomous hovering would take over after reaching a designated height. Users must then use the app to take pictures or videos. The drone is recharged when it is placed back inside the case. The project is being supported by a Kickstarter campaign that has already amassed over €500,000 in pledges. Over 100 dead in avalanches in Afghanistan and Pakistan. At least 100 people were reportedly killed in Afghanistan and Pakistan after 3 days of heavy snow triggered avalanches over the weekend. Avalanches have killed at least 45 people in one Afghan village alone, and at least 13 people in Pakistan were killed after avalanches struck the region. 2 villages in Afghanistan have been completely buried, while reports say people were trapped in some 250 vehicles that were stranded on a highway. Local officials have warned the death toll could continue to rise.